Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Amber Unfiltered. Today I wanted to give you guys some of my Stranger Things season 5 or series finale predictions, but before I do that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, if you want to cash out me at Amber Unfiltered Show, that'd be greatly appreciated. So, first of all, two things. So, number one, I'm rushing per usual. Y'all know I try and squeeze in a video before I'm going somewhere. I have physical therapy here in like less than an hour. I usually leave the house by like 11:25, 11:30, because it takes me 20 minutes to get there. It's not far, but far enough. And well, traffic anyway. And then the second thing is my hair looks crazy because it's giving Sideshow Bob because I don't have shampoo. I ran out, so I've been stealing my husband's. I've been using his Head and Shoulders, which is not meant really for black hair. At least I don't feel like it is. It kind of does the opposite effect. I ran out of can too, so my hair looks crazy. And number three, also, if my camera angle looks weird, I actually got a new desk for Christmas. My husband actually made me a desk by hand, and it looks better than anything you can find in a store. Like, I'm sorry, I'm popping my shit, but I'm also popping his shit. Like, it looks so good. I wish I could show you guys. It's such a gorgeous piece of furniture. Like, he really did that. Like, I was like pleasantly shocked. What really took me out though was that he thought he was keeping it a secret that he was working on it, but he literally left the evidence, like a trail of fucking evidence. And he was like, were you surprised or did you already know? And I was like, bro, I know. One day I came home, I think I was coming from PT, and he had left, I forgot what it's called. It's like this thing where you can sit wood on it and you can like sand it outside or like wherever. He had left that just out in the patio. I'm like, bro, it's 20 degrees outside. Why would you have this other than the desk? Because he's been working on this for a little bit. I'm not going to tell too much of his business, but he'd been working on this thing for a little bit, and he had started working on it when it was warmer out. So I was like, yeah, it's a no for me. Then he was like, you can't go in the basement. And I was like, I need to work out. Like, I'm a fat ass bitch. So anyway, it was just all these little clues. And then he was just being shady. I remember like the night before Christmas, I was in the kitchen cooking, and I think we was getting ready to watch Stranger Things too. I was in the kitchen cooking, and no. Stranger Things came out on Christmas, so no, it wouldn't have been. I think we were watching Fallout. That's what it was. Have you guys been watching Fallout? We've been enjoying season 2. I really love Maximus's storyline and Lucy's storyline, how they're kind of like coinciding or running parallel to each other. It kind of gives us some more as to their background or their backstory. I'm wondering where on earth they're gonna go. And Lucy's dad, he can go to the pit of hell. I'm sorry, I said what I said. But the night before Christmas, I was in the kitchen cooking, and I had to stop. Usually I'll have like a YouTube video on while I'm cooking. I'll watch like On the Rocks with Jada, Color Me Pink, Fish Jelly film reviews. Sometimes I'll watch like Sinister Cinema reviews. I watch a lot of like movie reviewers and like pop culture girlies, like black girlies. But anyway, I also love Jessie Woo. She's probably one of my favorite content creators. But what was I gonna say? So I had to stop the video, girl, and why was it real quiet? And all of a sudden I just hear, I'm sorry if you see the camera shaking. And I'm like, are you fucking hammering or something? I was like, what the fuck is that noise? And I yell, and I'm like, hey babe, like, are you working on something? He's like, don't worry about it. I'm like, you're so shady. So anyway, I say that to say it might look a little bit different. I'm gonna try to keep it as like the continuity flow, but I can't make any promises. But I actually really love my desk. Like, it's fire. I actually sent it to one of my friends, and she's like, can you make us something? My friend actually got married earlier this year. Shout out to my sis, Khadijah. But she wants to jump the broom after they saw the broom that we had hanging in our living room, because Nick also built that too. I made him do it because I always wanted to jump the broom when I got married. And so she was like, can he make me something? I was like, I'll take your order right now. So I was like, if you remind me like closer to your wedding day, I was like, we can give that to you as like part of your gift, because I'm not just probably going to get her that. But anyways, let's get into my predictions. I have no fucking notes. So on Saturday, we went to Busch Gardens for Christmas Town, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, and girl, was lit. So on the way there, we were talking, because it's like a 2.5-hour drive from our house. So we was talking, and we had so much tea. Like, Nick was like, you should start filming in the car, like our little car side chats, because we be really having in-depth like TED Talks, like for real. So we started talking about Stranger Things, and we had so many predictions, and I wanted to come on here and share them with you guys. Are you guys watching the show? Are you guys big fans of the show? If you really think about it, we've been growing up with these characters, but also growing up with this cast. Like, I think I was like 21 when I started watching this show, which is crazy to think about. I'm now 31. I wasn't married before. I wasn't planning a family. Like, oh my God, I wasn't a college student. Like, girl, I was just out here living my best life, my best single life. But it's just kind of crazy to think about. To be for real with y'all, I'm not ready to give these characters up. I'm not ready to part ways. I'm having a little bit of separation anxiety, and I can only imagine how the actors, the actresses, the directors, the cast, the crew, everybody on this production, I can't imagine how they feel. I love seeing actors and actresses and just like creative teams who really love what they do and really put their all into everything that they do. You could just tell they're so gracious. They really loved what they were working on. They're really passionate about that. I've also seen that with the cast of It, Welcome to Derry. We just started watching that. I literally put off watching it because I was freaking the fuck out. I was like, I know this is gonna psych me out because I love horror, but it really trips up my mind. Especially the visual aspect of like how the human body can be like contorted and like your surroundings and the things that you see or perceive. So I had to be very mindful, but it didn't scare me too bad. There was some stuff that I was like, this is really fucking grotesque, but I'm intrigued because I love disgusting things and I love quirky, like peculiar, eccentric things. But I've been watching little clips go around on social media and like YouTube of the It, Welcome to Derry cast. They're just so professional, so polite, like very grounded, very down to earth, like gorgeous, like well-spoken kids. And I'm like, I can't wait to see like how they take off in their careers. Like I was like, this is just the beginning for them. But I'm also curious what the Stranger Things cast is going to do, because I was like, this is one of the biggest things that we know them for. So what else are they going to do? I know Joe Keery has Joe, which he's a singer or a musician. I know some of the other cast is as well, and they've started in other things, but I think this is like the thing that made them household names, like that like catapulted them into the stratosphere. So I'm like, oh my God, like what are they going to do next? I would probably take a break if I was them. I would probably take some type of vacation, do some self-care, and then, you know, carefully, strategically pick my next project. So anyway, I know I just rambled, but we were talking about predictions in the car. So one of the first ones, again, I have no notes, so forgive me. I also need to leave by 11:30. So this will probably be like a 35 minute video. My thought is to, because I think the season finale comes out on Thursday, right? It's New Year's, or no, I'm lying. Does it come out tomorrow? I'm lying. It comes out on the 31st. So my thought was to probably release this video on the 1st, so then I could see if I was actually right or not, or dead ass wrong. So the first prediction that we came up with is we think Dustin's gonna die. I should not be saying that with a smile on my face, but to me and my husband, we kind of feel like Dustin has become so hardened after that loss, after he lost Eddie. Eddie was like a big brother. He was like a mentor. He was one of his best friends. Yes, he had his core friend group, and those were friends he had since childhood, but Eddie really saw him, you know, like in Avatar when they're like, I see you. Like, he really saw him, and they were both misfits. They were both outcasts. They were both nerds, incredibly smart, incredibly self-sacrificing, incredibly loving and loyal. And they are like the glue and the crux of the group, or the core of the group. So I think Dustin is just so hardened by that, and everyone's just like, move on, move on, move on. And even him and Steve had this tense dynamic, which I really loved how Joe Keery and Gaten Matarazzo played these two characters. Like, you can tell there's like really love there, but there's like an emotional turmoil there. And I really loved how they played that. And I was like, I think I read a headline, I didn't get to read the whole article, that was saying that Gaten had a hard time being mean to Joe, because he's like, that's my bestie. And I even read another interview of Joe Keery, and he was talking about how much respect he had for Gaten, how talented he thought he was, and how he was like, I've been wanting to work with him from season 1. And I was like, that's just so incredible. And I'm like, Gaten's technically a child actor. Joe is like an adult actor. I don't know if Joe has been acting since before Stranger Things, but I was like, that's so interesting that he could see his talent and he didn't like just reduce him to like his age or like, you know, his resume, you know, because I know being a child actor is really hard and you have to build and build and build. And also something else I want to say that's not totally related, but related. I told Nick last night, I was like, actors and actresses give us so much, and not just them, but everybody that works with them and that curates the project. I was like, they give so much. We like honestly don't deserve them. Like, they give so much labor, they give so much love, and we really don't even know. We just see the final product, but there's long ass days. They work 12, 13, 14, 15, 16-hour days, tired, and they just give it their all. Like, I just can't imagine. Like, it being any type of creative is really hard. Like yesterday, I was writing because I have a fucking deadline. I'm horrible with deadlines, by the way. I procrastinate, which is so crazy because I'm not really like that in other areas of my life. But if I know I have a deadline to submit something to be considered for publication, I will literally wait until the last minute. It's like I psych myself out and then I like go beast mode and I just like go ham because I'm like, oh my God, I gotta finish. It's like that pressure really does turn you. What does it say? Like diamonds form under pressure or something like that, or coal turns into diamonds under pressure. You know what I'm trying to say. But I literally will wait till the last minute. Like, to like an example, the piece I'm working on right now, it's a personal essay about my health scares. Well, I don't want to say scares, but my health issues that I'm working through. And I wrote this like a couple weeks ago. I wrote the first draft, and I knew that I wanted to submit it to this publication. It's a Black-owned publication led by Black women. And I was like, I really want this to go to a Black space, a female space, right? So girl, I had wrote that first draft and I was like, all right, bet I have like 2 or 3 weeks or about a week or so to get this together. Bro, it's due tomorrow. Guess who's still working on the essay? Like, girl, I'm like beasting it though. Like yesterday I woke up and I worked on it for like 8 hours. And by the time I was done, my brain was so fried. I was so exhausted because all the energy you expel trying to get the art out, trying to get the message out, trying to get what's in your head out, and try to get it to make sense, and try to get it to be creative, to get it to be, you know, clever, to get it to resonate with other people. That's the scariest part. You're just like shedding yourself. You're giving a piece of yourself that you're probably not going to get back once you put it out. And that's like the really scary part and the vulnerable part. And that's what literally fucking terrifies me and causes me existential dread and anxiety. But anyways, so we think that Dustin is going to die because we feel like he, you know, Steve seems like he wants to sacrifice himself or would sacrifice himself to save Dustin because out of love for him and empathy for him, I would say. But I think it would make sense to me that Dustin dies because he can't take another loss. He can't take losing Steve. Like if he loses Steve, he'll just like, he won't even be the same. Like he's already not the same with Eddie. You can just tell he's kind of going it alone. He's kind of like on an island by himself. But I just think he can't handle that loss, like emotionally, and just like mentally. I think it would just break him. Like he's already broken. I think he would be further broken. You know, like glass that you can't quite put back together, like porcelain. Like if it shatters, like, you know, like a porcelain or glass vase or a very ornate vase that's like very delicate, like material. I feel like he would just shatter, but there would be no way to put him back together, to put those pieces back together. And I really feel like Dustin is very sensitive at this time. So he's, you know, he's in a tricky position. He's like in a precarious position, but I think it would make more sense for him to die because he can die knowing one, he made peace with Steve, and knowing two, that he helped for the greater good of Hawkins and like humanity. And I think he's already kind of on the outs with his friends. So I don't know what I was trying to say. Like he's already kind of on the outs. Not that he deserves to die. I want to preface, you know, I should have probably prefaced that at the beginning of the video, but I think it makes most sense because he got to spend time with his friends. He got to save the world. He got to exercise his brilliance. Like I think he's kind of done. I think he's just spent. Like Dustin is kind of like, I don't think he necessarily entirely gives, I don't want to be here anymore, but he is pushing everyone away in a sense. But I also think he can't live without Eddie. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't think he could live without Steve. Like Steve was one of the first people who really saw him. Again, he had his core friend group, but I think the relationship between him and Steve was quite different. Like, because all he had at home, I think, was his mom, right? Was his dad. I don't think his dad was around. So Steve and Eddie were those strong male figures for him, strong older male figures that he could look up to, that he could bounce ideas off of, that he could talk shit to, that rewarded him for being a nerd, for being intelligent. So I think I would be sad if he died, but I think it would be such a beautiful way and a heroic way for his trajectory or his storyline to end. Maybe that's just me, or his character arc. So that's number one. Number two, I think, this sounds so fucked up. I'm over here talking about death. My husband made a really good point. He said he thinks that the Duffer brothers are afraid to kill any of their characters. And I think that they are. I'm sensing some hesitation unless they're saving it for the finale. I was so mad too because I wanted to go to the movies to see the finale because I was like, this is such an epic thing. I've never seen a show do something like this. At least I don't remember in recent memory. And I was like, I don't know if we're ever going to get a show like this again. Like this show is out of this world. It's so crazy. Like, and I was like, I would normally not watch stuff like this, but like, I like sci-fi, I like horror, I like the supernatural, but I was like, the like nerdy aspect, the Dungeons and Dragons and those sorts of things I wouldn't be compelled by, but the characters, I just love the characters so much that I'm like, the writing is good, the acting is good, the character work is good, so I'm sold. But what was I gonna say? The other thing I was gonna say is I actually think it would make sense for Max to die. I actually think, if we said this in the car, I think, or on the way home, I thought it would have been interesting. It would have raised the stakes for them if Max came out of Vecna's lair, or Vecna's like prison, basically. And then what was I going to say? I think if she had died, that would have upped the ante for them and upped those stakes, because I feel like they don't have a lot of stakes right now. I kind of feel like the main characters, or like the main like core group, I feel like they're kind of dragging ass. They're kind of slow. Like they're kind of slow acting to me. Like, I'm like, okay, your sister got kidnapped. Your mom got fucking tore the fuck up by a Demogorgon, as well as your dad. I was like, those would be incentives or motivating factors for me to move a little bit quicker, or move a little bit hastier. And also, or have a little pep in my step. Like, and also 12 kids just got kidnapped, like in broad daylight, or maybe not broad daylight, but you know what I mean? Like, and they're being basically molded by this entity to do his bidding. Like, I think they need a major loss to really put a fire under them, because I feel like they're just kind of like, okay, we failed. Okay, like, I wish that it was kind of like the last Avengers, like the last two Avengers. I'm trying to think, what was the last two called? Hold on, y'all. I got my computer right here. Also, I don't think I've seen the Avengers. Have I seen the Avengers Doomsday trailer? I think I'm kind of done with that. But anyway, yeah, so I think like Avengers Infinity War, they were up. They were like City Boys up, as they say, or City Girls up. I'm just being stupid, but they were up. And then Avengers Endgame, they lost, like towards the end of Infinity War, they lost everything and they had to regroup. I kind of want to see more flaws, or more like flaws and redemption. I think they're missing the redemption arc or the redemption piece in Stranger Things. And I also am kind of pissed. Maybe not pissed is the wrong word, but like, I'm kind of annoyed how they keep relying on Eleven. Like, I'm like, she just looks physically exhausted. Like, the actress looks exhausted, but the character feels exhausted or drained to me. Like, she's just always saving them. No sooner she comes from doing one thing, she's pulled into another mission. I'm like, when does 11 actually get rest? When does 11 actually get recharged? Like, I think too, yeah, but like I'm saying, like, I think if Max had died, like they thought they saved her and then she died, that would have built up that tension for me, and that would have made it much more interesting to see how the characters respond, especially what was I gonna say? Lucas. I keep wanting to call him Caleb because I know the actor's real name. Also, he's so handsome. Like, he's so handsome, he's so talented. I've been watching him for a long time too. Remember he did that? Was it the Jackson 5 movie? The Five Heartbeat? Not the Five Heartbeats, but I think he did the Jackson 5 movie. Or it was some prominent black group. I can't remember now. I'm sorry. Let me see. I could probably look up his catalog real quick. Let me see. And I also have a point to make about some of the supporting characters. I don't want to call them side characters. I want him and Max to date so bad. That's toxic of me, isn't it? All right, hold on. Let me find his filmography. Advocacy. Aw. I don't think I knew he did that. Oh, wow. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, sorry, I got distracted reading something. What was that movie he was in? Oh my God, I loved his performance in Concrete Cowboy. If you've never watched that, he's in this movie about black cowboys with Idris Elba. Oh my God, it's so fucking good. Okay, now I can't find it, of course. Wasn't he in that movie? Maybe I'm mistaking him for someone else. But anyway, so let me go back to some of my other points. I know this doesn't relate to a prediction. I guess I'm just going to talk my shit in this video. But something else I noticed was that they kind of put some of the characters from the core friend group and the core cast or core group, they kind of put them to the wayside or pushed them to the wayside. Like Erica, like Lucas. I kind of don't like that. And I was like, I don't know if it's because they're black characters or maybe they just, Nick said that he thinks they overstuffed it with too many characters and that they have to condense. So then it kind of pushes some of the main cast to be pushed to the side. Like something that really pissed me off was that, okay, the scene, I forgot what episode it is, so forgive me. But the scene where they're trying to trap the Demogorgon. They have like the rug laid out and the Demogorgon is supposed to fall through. And then they had kidnapped Derek and his family so that the Demogorgon wouldn't know where they're at and like use him as that entity or that mediator between Vecna and the other world. But Lucas was just standing there. I was like, oh, Lucas would have whipped ass. He would have had like a rake. He would have had some type of weapon or something. I hated how they kind of just like make him be like a bystander, almost like he's not, it doesn't feel like he's a part of the show. And even like him with just Max, like him just waiting day and night with her, just holding her hand. I'm like, we could have given him more like tension or more action. I think he needs to be included more. I really didn't like that. I feel like his character got cut so much to me when he is an integral part of the cast and the character, the main character group. I also feel like the same thing with Erica. Like, I feel like I want to see them grow. I think that's the other thing too. I'm like, Erica's just there in bits and pieces. And I was like, in the past seasons, she was on camera more. She was on screen more. And I'm like, now what happened? It's just like they're kind of reduced to the wayside and I didn't like that. And then they keep adding in characters that don't really make sense or add anything. Something else me and my husband talked about was the science teacher that helped make the telemetry machine and how he just jumped into the upside down with no like questions, no wherewithal. And it's like, I would probably be like, this is where I leave you. Or I think they could have had him like, you know, wait on the military base to kind of like stall or act as a decoy for the military that's kind of like following 11, or the government, I should say. Also, Robin's girlfriend, I was like, why is she added into the mix? What I would have loved to seen in the scene where the Demodogs, I think it was, were about to attack them in that like basement, like laundry area when they were about to rescue Max, like for good or for the final time. And Mrs. Wheeler came through with the clutch. I would have loved to see Robin sacrifice herself. I think that would have added, again, a beautiful character arc. I think it also would have, again, the same thing as I said about Dustin, given her a heroic ending, and knowing that she did everything she could to protect her friends, and she did it out of love, and she did it, like I said, out of protection. I think that would have been interesting. Or even seeing her and Lucas fight over the boombox and maybe it like spill or break or something like that. Almost, it kind of reminded me of that scene in A Quiet Place Day One with Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn, where she has like the boombox in the middle, or she's listening to something on headphones and she takes it off and she lets them like consume her. I thought that that was like, they could have done more with that, and I don't know. But let me see what else I have. I think a lot of my predictions are surrounding death. I think that 11 is going to die. I think it makes sense for her to die. I kind of picked up on something is going to happen to her. I don't know if she's going to flat out die. But when Mike was saying, we can go somewhere with a river, we can go somewhere with a pretty view, we can get a fresh start, I was like, she'll never be able to get a fresh start. One, because the government's always going to be hunting her down. But number two, I think, you know, it started with 11, so I think it should end with 11, if that makes sense. And, you know, nothing about 11 is normal, which there's nothing wrong with. She's probably, not probably, she was one of my favorite characters in the beginning, but I think my mind has definitely changed now. But I think that 11 is just tired, and it would make sense for her to sacrifice herself so her friends can move on with their lives, so they can like live a normal existence. You know what I'm saying? Because ever since they were introduced to this other world, you know, the upside down, this entity, Vecna, and just, you know, the mind flayer and different things like that. Not that it's her fault, because it's not, but like, I think it would just make sense for closure's sake. And I think, I don't know. I'm trying to think what else I think. I kind of feel like Hopper might die too. Damn, all my predictions are about death. I kind of feel like it would be interesting if Hopper died, because they're some of the ones that like really kept the core group together, like if you really think about it. So to me, it would make sense for them to sacrifice themselves and really go out guns blazing, no pun intended, to, again, for closure, but also so that the other characters can move on. Because I think with 11 around, unfortunately, I think they're always going to attract, you know, this other world. But even, not even just with her around, Max has had an experience in it. Holly has had an experience in it. Will is very tethered to it. I don't know if I feel like Will's going to die. I don't know if he would become basically a full-on number like 11 and Kali. I think her name is number 8. I don't know. My husband said that he thinks that Kali and 11 will kind of basically be sequestered to that other world and kind of be the caretaker, or maybe like the peace negotiator, or like the mediator for that world, so that it doesn't what am I trying to say? Not interconnect, but like, so it doesn't interfere with Earth or Hawkins, for lack of a better word. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm trying to think what else. I'm trying to think, what would these characters do after all is said and done? Like, how do you go back to normal? Like what Nancy and Jonathan said in that scene where the room had melted. Like, how do you go back to normal? You're always going to be tied to this trauma. You're always going to be tied to this experience, even when you move on. Like, do I see Nancy getting married? Do I see her becoming a full-on journalist or reporter? Do I see her going back to finish school? Like, what could the kids do? What could the adults do as well? I kind of feel pissed about Joyce. Joyce is another character that was a strong supporting character in the beginning of the series, and now she's just to the wayside. I feel like she's just basically Will's cheerleader or his coach, and I'm like, I would love to see more from her, because she was a badass. She was a spunky little petite woman, you know, trying to save her baby, and then she just is kind of reduced to dialogue, and I don't really like that. I think her character could have been fleshed out more. I really would have loved to seen some of these characters grow in some different ways and go after the things that they want, or maybe have some new motives or new motivations. I really do love Will's character arc. I think he's come into himself. I do feel like the last episode was a little bit of huff and fluff with the dialogue. The coming out scene, I think, was definitely misplaced. I think you can have gay characters and they can serve the story in a beautiful and effective way that doesn't make a caricature of their queerness. And I think they kind of did a little bit. And I hate that we spent so much time with him coming out, because, not that I'm, whatever. But because I think it took away from the ultimate mission. And I think, too, it should have been more intimate. I think he could have told his mom. I think he could have told Joyce and potentially Mike, and maybe that should have been it. But to come out in a room full of people that you have varying relationships with and varying levels of intimacy in terms of like knowing them well enough to share something that pertinent, I didn't really think that that was appropriate. And I understand they were saying that Vecna could use it against him and weaponize it against him, which I very well believe that he could, but I don't know. I do think it would, another prediction I have is that I think Holly should, I think it would be tight if they rescue all the kids except Holly. I think Holly should be like that one. She should almost mirror like how Will was for Vecna, like that number one, the special one, the chosen one, almost like an 11 or a Will. I might have said Mike. I meant to say Will, but I think that would be interesting because it would be like, okay, we got her, but we didn't. Like, like I think that loss would like linger and it would cause the characters to react viscerally, especially Nancy, especially Mike, especially their mom, Mrs. Wheeler, Karen. Like, I don't know. I actually think too, this is so crazy. This is like the fourth or fifth death. I think it would be interesting if Karen Wheeler had succumbed to her injuries. Like, I think that would have been interesting too, because we only saw her as like this like posh housewife. She's pretty. She's almost like a plant, like a house plant. Like, she's very pretty. She's beautiful to look at, but like she doesn't really have any autonomy. Like, the only thing she really has for herself, or from what we can see, is like her family, like a wife and a mother. Like, she's not allowed to really discover her identity. So I think it would have been interesting to see her die and the kids step the fuck up, because they're like, we just suffered one of the biggest losses. Like, our mom died defending our sister. Now we have to shape up or ship the fuck out to get Holly out of Vecna's grasp. But I don't know. Also, I'm trying to think, do we think that they're going to be able to kill Vecna? I don't know. That's kind of a tough one to foresee, because he's eating their asses up, honestly. The scene or the episode where all the kids got taken, that broke my heart. Like, I was like, damn. I was like, they're so screwed. I would love to know a little bit more about his backstory, like what was in that briefcase when he was in that cave, after they went into his mind, Max and Holly went into his mind to see if, they could find the dirt, as to figure out why he was afraid of the cave or what he was running away from, because he clearly has some type of trauma, but I don't know. Do you think that type of horror is scarier versus like actual physical horror? Because I think it is kind of dangerous, someone playing around in your mind like that and calling to mind like your worst fears, your worst memories, or your most complex memories. I think that is kind of tough. I don't know if they're going to be able to kill Vecna. He almost seems like a god to me. I love the way that he's portrayed. Shout out to Jamie Kimball Bower. I think he does a really beautiful job of playing him. Every time he's comes onto the screen, he just like oozes charisma. He has like this magnetism. Like, I feel like there's only certain actors who have that. Me and my husband talked about this. I think Angela Bassett is one. Who's another one? Daniel Day-Lewis. I recently became obsessed with him. I had heard his name throughout the years. I never understood or looked into the hype or looked into his accolades or his catalog. And recently we just watched, I've been watching crazy movies, bro. Like, I'd be like, damn, I should review this for the channel. But I was like, some I could just keep for myself. But there was a movie called There Will Be Blood. That shit is so fire. Let me just tell you what it's about real quick, because I think you guys should give it a watch. I think we rented it for like a couple of bucks. It came out in 2007. God, it's such a delicious movie. Like, I know that's probably a horrible adjective, but so let me tell you what it's about. It came out December 26, 2007. Ruthless silver miner turned oil prospector Daniel Plainview moves to oil-rich California. Using his adopted son H.W. to project a trustworthy family man image, Plainview cons local landowners into selling him their valuable properties for a pittance. However, local preacher Eli Sunday suspects Plainview's motives and intentions, starting a slow-burning feud that threatens both of their lives. Figuratively and literally, bitch. Like, this movie is so damn good. Like, please give it a watch. Like, I was like, okay, I see what the hype is about Daniel Day-Lewis. I'm about 20 years late almost, but I was like, damn. Daniel Day-Lewis's performance, chef's kiss. Like, he is excellent. And Paul Dano, oh my God. I remember seeing him all the time when I was younger. Like, bro, his performance, they go toe-to-toe in this movie. I was like, God damn. We also watched Gangs of New York with Leonardo DiCaprio, Cameron Diaz, and Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis, again, that was actually the first movie I saw of his. We watched it like a week or so ago. Because I told y'all on Sundays, I'll cook like some food. I remember my mom doing like soul food Sunday. So I think that's just been instilled in me to cook like a nice meal. I don't make it as like heavy or like soulful maybe, but you know, we get like HelloFresh boxes and I'll cook one of those. Or if I feel like a craving for something, I'll go out and get stuff to make it and then cook, and then we just wind down with like a really good movie. We try to watch stuff that like we normally wouldn't watch. And that movie was so fucking good. My brother recommended it, but I remember he recommended There Will Be Blood, but I think we first watched Gangs of New York. And I went to go look up Daniel Day-Lewis's catalog and I saw There Will Be Blood and I was like, God damn, Gangs of New York is good. The only thing that bothered me was the stuff with black characters. That was the only thing that really upset me. But other than that, it's an excellent, excellent movie. That came out in 2003, and I love Leonardo DiCaprio's performance. But again, Daniel Day-Lewis, he lit that fucking screen up. Like, he just like fully transforms. He fully immerses himself. Like, I have not seen acting like that in a really long time. I know this was about 15, 20 years ago, but God, both movies are really, really well cast. Like, I can't speak I can't give it anything but high praise, honestly. Like, he really is worth his salt. And he doesn't even have like a ton of movies, but he picks very specific roles and he really commits. Like, he probably overcommits. You know how they say overqualified for a job? I almost wonder if he's overqualified for acting. Like, I'm saying that as a joke, but he's stunning. Like, and he doesn't do interviews. He stays out of the way. He makes his movies and then he dips, and he takes breaks in between movies, which I really love. I'm trying to think what else. I was kind of upset by the John C. I was going to say John C. I was kind of upset by the Jonathan Nancy storyline. And also something else I noticed was like, Jonathan and Will aren't really in the same scene. So I actually forgot they were brothers. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on with the writing? I do feel like the writing is falling apart in season 5, more so in the later episodes. I absolutely loved episodes 1 through 4. The third and fourth episodes were probably my favorite so far. Just, oh my God, it was so well written and it unfolded so beautifully, and the tension, the stakes, the action, like it just kept going and going and going. And I loved how Will came through with the clutch at that last minute. I was like, oh, he really did. Like, I was yelling, my mouth was open. I remember my cousin came over, my cousin Sadie, shout out to you, I love you. She had came over to spend the night and we decided to watch it with her. I think we picked up some Duck Donuts because she was like, I don't really like Duck Donuts. And I was like, bro, I was like, you got to eat it when it's hot. And she did. She was like, oh yeah, this shit is fire. And so then I think we got Kava because my husband got like I think he got like a Uber Eats gift card or like voucher from his work, but we had to use it that day that she came over. So we just like DoorDashed it or Uber Eated it to our house. And we was watching it and I was just like, I wish they would lean more into that. I'm like, give us that shock factor. Give us something to root for. The reason why we love these characters is because they remind us of ourselves and people that we know. I'm trying to think what else. I don't know. Do we think that the characters that are remaining or alive after their big showdown with Vecna, do we think that they're going to remain in Hawkins? Because if anything, I would probably want to move away, but I guess you can't run away from your trauma because your trauma will always exist within you. I'm trying to see what would a world look like without Vecna? What would a world look like without the Upside Down? I don't know. I'm also curious if they're going to do like any spin-offs, any prequels. I know they have like First Shadow like on Broadway. I wanted to go to that, but girl, I didn't realize it was in Europe. I think it was like in the UK, like England or Britain or something like that. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't like the fact that they brought Kali back. I think that was a little bit of a shortcut or a cheat code. I didn't remember her character until they implemented the flashback. I don't know. I want there to be as little death as possible, but if they do have some deaths, I want them to be very impactful to push the characters to their full potential, but also to be able to defeat Vecna. I don't know. I'm worried about them goddamn kids too. I'm also worried about the kids in It, Welcome to Derry. I've only gotten 4 episodes through, but I don't know. I don't know how on earth they're going to wrap this up. I think 2 hours is actually too short. I think they should have made it 3 hours or 4 and maybe split it up into 2 episodes. I think 2 hours, they have a lot of questions to answer. I think they're going to have to really come through with the clutch. Like, I'm praying they're able to pull it off, and I'm praying that they're able to end it on a high note. I didn't watch Game of Thrones when it was ending. I stopped at about season 4 or 5 because it kind of became redundant to me. But I hope that they don't do the same thing with that. They have like such a gem on their hands, and this is such a special show. It has such a significant cultural impact that I would hate for them to mess it up. Like, I literally see in 20 years them doing a reunion with the cast, like how they do with like Lord of the Rings and those really iconic pieces of IP, like movies, TV, any visual art. Like, I really see them doing this. I could see them, being in their 40s, doing cast photos, doing Comic-Con, doing signings. Like, I see them talking about how it changed their lives and like what they've gone on to do in their careers way after the fact. Like, I don't know. This show, I don't know if we'll ever get another show like this. It's very hard to make an iconic show, but make something from the heart. You can tell that the Duffer Brothers really love what they do. I actually followed them on Instagram, as well as the lady who plays Karen Wheeler, Cara Bueno, I think is her name. She's so gorgeous. And I've just been seeing little sneak peeks that they've been posting, like behind the scenes pictures. I've also followed or seen posts from Nell Fisher, who plays Holly Wheeler, and just the passion. Again, I just have so much respect for creators who give it their all. And the Duffer Brothers, they took this around to so many different places, shopped it around. They got rejected left and right. But I love that they stuck to their guns and they really stuck to what they believed in and what they wanted to make. I think that that's something that I do myself. Even though I'm nowhere near their level, I actually met an author and his mom recently at work, and his mom had told me, she looked me dead in the eye and she was like, don't ever change, like, because they were telling me about his friend that was an author, and she had written a book, beautiful book, and she went to go shop for an agent, and the agent and I think like the publisher or editor was like, rewrite this whole thing. She had two genres in the book and they told her to split it up. So she split it up, reworked it, rewrote it, and they were like, this will make it marketable, and it didn't sell one copy. And I was like, that's so devastating. And his mom was like, stick to your vision, don't let anyone change your mind or sway your mind. And that always stuck with me. I have a lot of respect for artists who do that. So like the Duffer Brothers, Lana Del Rey is like that, Kali Uchis is like that. A lot of people will tell them to go one way and, you know, what's sellable, what's marketable, but you have to make things that feel authentic to you. And I think that's why we love this show so much, even if we're not necessarily a D&D-er or like a nerd, quote unquote. Like, we just, people, you know, people want to escape, and this is such a beautiful way to escape. So, and it's also a visually stunning show, and it's, I don't know, like, I could see papers and things like that being written about this show, if not already. Like, I would totally write a paper on it if I had the opportunity, because it is a very iconic show. I know it's, you know, just about to go off on air, but, or just about to go off air, but I don't know, girl, I'm not ready for this. I was like, well, I feel like I'm gonna be crying because I just, you know, it's hard finding really good content nowadays. I feel like content is not contenting, but I'm gonna try and appreciate the content that is being made, because again, it is a huge thing to make TV, to get, you know, financing for it, to find, you know, people to fill those character roles, and to get people to help you produce it, to help you actually make it. These productions are huge labors of love, and we just, again, we have no idea the things that these actors and directors and creatives in general are putting themselves through to give us entertainment. Like, we really, again, don't deserve them. But let me know what you guys think. Do you have any predictions? Do you have any thoughts? I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Girl, I'm gonna be on the floor in a pool of tears, I'm telling you. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye.